Welcome to Off the Roster, brought to you by our founding partner, ProLine. Must be 18 plus to bet in store, 19 plus online, and for Ontario residents only. I'm Lindsay alongside Cabbie and Dan. And if you are watching or listening, you will notice that my audio sounds like garbage because I forgot my mic. And I am on location in Montreal because later today I'm going to be filming some interesting things with Olympians that have won gold, bronze, and silver, and future Olympians that are going there for the first time to compete in speed skating, a sport I've never covered, and I'm terrified. And I'll let you guys know a little TMI. I'm wearing pleather pants out of the fear I'm going to fall and hoping it will cushion my tush when I absolutely will wipe out. So how are we feeling today?
We're feeling pretty good.
Number 5, jump
Cab's mic is not on.
You're feeling pretty good. As you are entering a new space on the ice at a speed skating facility, we also had some fun in a conversation yesterday about, or was it yesterday or maybe Monday, about head coaching vacancies. And you said you were ready to step in and fill the shoes of Mike Tomlin with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So we have this gift for you. We are putting this into the ether.
Yes.
Lindsay, we have your own.
You got your bobblehead, and now
figure.
you got your own bobblehead. Now you got your own action figure as future head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
With a corgi, with some Cheetos, the breakfast of champions.
The pants are already the same. I already have the pants on right now, guys. I got some cool Nike Air Zooms. The haircut is so close, guys. You got me on this.
That's what you mentioned. You said you want a Mark Davis bowl cut.
That looks even better than Mark Davis. That just looks like somebody overblown their bangs with a hair blower. This is amazing. Put me in.
So listen,
actually, I am coach.
Yeah, don't get injured today in Montreal because the Steelers faithful need you in a press conference in about 48 hours. So we don't want you up there in an air cast or some kind of neck brace or anything like that. We need you to look like you do in the action figure.
Yeah, let's go. I am so excited for this. And I remember in the chat yesterday, it was like, I think German Fine Cars, I'm sorry, I'm screwing your name up. They're like, can I be the water boy? So that is immediately my first hire about this. And since Dan looks like Baker Mayfield, I'm going to put you in it as my QB. And Cabbie, can just tell.
We're losing a lot of games.
The new president.
I want to know though, before I accept the position of starting quarterback, are we playing Mambo number 5 as the hype up song for every game? As your action figure also had a copy of the records that might be playing pregame to get the squad hyped up.
Don't think I didn't notice the love that went into that. You guys got me good, but Dan, it'd be I'd probably go Mambo Italiano by Dean Martin. Hey, Mambo Italiano. No? Okay, anyways.
We're losing a lot of games. That's all I know. But
a lot of viewers right now. But some people were not able to stay up to watch the rest of the Raptors game, so maybe viewership wasn't high. But if you did not last until well after midnight or whatever, because I was watching post game, so it's usually after midnight. They were taking on the Golden State Warriors, where there was a lot of concern going into the game about the Warriors, who are now without Jimmy Butler with a torn ACL, but also with the Raptors, who, they're without RJ, who is expected to play tonight, and a number of other players, including Jakob Poeltl. But IQ went off. Here is some sound from what happened on the away broadcast.
Manuel quickly is having a night. He's a really good player, but he is having a shooting night like very few in his career. He is 9 of 10, 6 of 6 on threes, 29 points in the game.
His career high has to be getting scared.
Yeah, it was scary.
His career
it was
high.
Petrified.
Yeah, he couldn't miss last night. It was just like Kobe every time. It was just, never missed.
Tied a career high with 40 points, and then he had 10 assists and was 80% from field goal percentage in a game, joining only Wilt Chamberlain, who was able to do that before. Your impressions of IQ's game yesterday, Dan?
Where's this been all year? No, he was incredible. What have you done for me lately? He was incredible last night. And that's kind of, that's the hard part about what's gone on with Quickly this year is we know he has this type of scoring ability, this type of efficiency in him. We just don't see it all the time. And, last night was maybe, just a night that you'll have over your career. Not going to shoot that efficiently every single time out, but he's not been anywhere near that, right? We know he's a better shooter than he has shown lately. We know that he can facilitate the ball because not only to go with his 40 points, he had 10 assists, and his facilitation hasn't been where it needs to be at times for this Raptors team. It's a high bar we're looking for, but when you make $32 million a year, you've got to reach a high bar to bring back the expectations of the fan base. And last night we saw a reason why Emmanuel Quickly is such a big part of this Raptors team. We just need to see big performances like this out of him more often.
We got, for the Raptors core four, we got 3 of the 4 that were just lights out last night. And Brandon Ingram is such a steady presence on the wing, which substantially opens up the court for Scotty Barnes to dominate anywhere, and especially the paint. But Brandon Ingram, there was a sequence in the third quarter. The passing was chef's kiss. It was immaculate. Every Raptor touched the ball, and there was 8 passes, which ended with a Brandon Ingram corner 3, splashing that 3 in the house that Steph Curry built. The Raptors were up by 30 at that point. This was a walk in the park. This was this was like the slump buster game that Toronto needed, even though they weren't in a slump. But and then in the fourth quarter, Ingram, with about 5 minutes left to go, Ingram hits a timely 3. The next possession, Sanju Mamukelashvili hits a timely 3, and that effectively ended Golden State. We're like coming back into the game and cutting that deficit, but it effectively killed that. And Ingram was just fantastic with 22 points. He had 5 assists, 4 rebounds, 4 for 6 from downtown. And then Scotty Barnes was he was flirting with a triple-double. He had 26 points, a team-high 11 assists, 7 rebounds. The bro dominated the paint. He served as Toronto's secondary playmaker. Weirdly, he had a team-high 11 assists and Quickly had 10 assists, but Quickly, was the playmaker. But Scotty Barnes was the engine that drives this Porsche, and he had another phenomenal game. It was just at one point it was belt to ass. I mean, Raptors were up by 30, 91-61. It was a belt-to-ass game in San Francisco for Toronto. Love to see it. And this has got to build boost all kinds of confidence for the squad as they continue in Sacramento tonight.
I love that you said confidence, because we saw Grady Dick have a huge confidence boost yesterday in that game against San Francisco. It's a storyline we've been talking about all season about Grady, and he got his first start of the season for the Toronto Raptors yesterday against the Golden State Warriors. To put that into perspective, last year in the 54 games he played, he started all 54 games. So what a shift in mentality and mindset and his performance and the minutes that he's been getting. We saw that his confidence, it would seem like it wavered at time throughout this season coming off of the bench. But when he got that start, let me tell you, my phone went off, people being like, why is Grady starting? I said, chill. He's done this so many times before in his very young Raptors career. He will bounce back. And yesterday, the only kind of negative I had about his game is he was only one of a couple players who did not have an assist. And where yesterday it seemed like every Raptor was making a bucket, but he had a steal. He was making buckets. He finally was able to get a couple threes to drop. Great game by Grady Dick. I know everyone will be talking about IQ today, but a fantastic game by Grady. The only players who did not have an assist aside Grady yesterday was Garrett Temple, who only played under 2 minutes, Jonathan Mobo, Ochai Agbaji, and AJ Lawson. So they were passing that rock around. And guys, making it rain from 3. I don't know if you know this, but I am able to understand Serbian. And yesterday in postgame, Darko spoke in Serbian about how he was thinking off the roster for solving all their 3-point percentage woes. Take a listen.
And shooting was great tonight, and we talked about it. I have no doubt in this team that we can shoot the ball, and we are due to have a game like this. And I believe that we're going to continue shooting the ball really well because I see how much our guys pride themselves in putting the work in and how many reps they get and how much they trust each other. You know, we had 42 assists, and I think maybe 1-3 came out of the dribble. Everything was assisted threes tonight.
Yeah, 42 assists on 51 made field goals. It was a team high, maybe even a record. It was phenomenal to watch the ball move like that last night for Toronto.
And the Nonnas, they must have they've done the Malocchio trick yesterday for the Raptors because everything was dropping from three. We knew these guys are better at shooting threes than they had shown, and they moved the ball around really well. Golden State didn't seem too up for following it and playing too much defense, and finally, the Raptors dropped some open threes. It's not that they haven't been getting the looks. It's just that they hadn't been dropping. And we see what this team can do if they're not going to shoot 61% from three every night, but can we get a few more 40% games? That would help this Raptors team immensely compared to what they'd had been going through this 3-point shooting slump in the last couple weeks.
61% from beyond the arc yesterday compared to their game against the Lakers just the 2 days before, where it was 21%, which put them at the bottom of the NBA for 3-point percentage shooting. So I love that Darko says they're going to shoot better. We believe RJ Barrett is expected to be back in the lineup tonight. Fun little fact, I will be leaving before halftime of this show just because I have to go to that event and I do not want to make the Olympians wait. But in that time, you guys are going to have, I know, the best baseball conversation we've ever had on the show, because we have a fantastic sorry, I just saw the chat saying enjoy your poutine, Grandma Lindsay. I am so excited for Montreal smoked meat on a poutine. But we have to talk about some sound that happened before the game from Golden State Warriors GM Mike Dunleavy talking about Kuminga, who demanded a trade. Listen.
Yeah, I mean, I think as far as the demand, I'm aware of that. I think when you in terms of demands, when you make a demand, there needs to be demand on the market. So we'll see where that goes. But Bird,
that's a bar right there.
Always with these guys, I tell them I'm willing to work with them. Want to help people out.
And that's all we need to hear about that. That is a quote. I'm aware of that. In terms of demands, when you make a demand, there needs to be a demand. And he had a fantastic game after that. But when I heard that, I was like, I needed a moment for him. R.I.P.
Yeah, Dunleavy gave him the whiteboard material that Kuminga needed, apparently, because he what do you have 20 points last night for the Warriors?
Yes.
Yeah, the dude he hadn't played since December 18th, and then he was excellent. What I was watching, he was excellent on one-on-one dribbling and breaking down the Raptors, going to the hoop. 20 points, 5 rebounds. It felt like he was auditioning for the rest of the NBA, and because there's been his name has been floating around in the Raptors, the NBA rumor mill for so long. He's like, let me just remind you of some skills that I have, because he wants out of Dodge. They want him out of Dodge. Mike Dunleavy Jr. just has to find the right dance partner and then send Kuminga on his way to a new squad. But it was nice to watch him just unleash like the full arsenal of his tools. But where will he go? That remains to be seen. And has that performance now created a little bit more of a demand? Is there a little bit more heat for Jonathan Kuminga on 29 other squads in the association?
Is Mike Dunleavy's phone ringing at all right now for Jonathan Kuminga? That's
maybe
because there was no phone calls before. yeah, maybe because he put.
I'm coach. I'm going to bring you what I want, who I want.
You're putting together a pretty eclectic team there, Grandma Linz. Yeah. But we'll see how it works out.
I believe in everybody all the time. So I'm excited that he was having a great game. I do not know him as a person, so I do not know any of the turmoil surrounding that team and why he demanded a trade and how the GM went on and said that. I don't really see Bobby Webster ever saying something as spicy as that. But yeah, that was an interesting take. Tonight, the Raptors will be taking on former Toronto Raptor DeMar DeRozan. But going into any game for Steph Curry this season, we spoke about this before, a lot of focus on what is on his feet. He's a free agent in the shoe game, and he brought the heat yesterday.
Nice.
Oh, Vince Carter's iconic Nike sneakers from 2000. I know a lot of people were expecting him to wear this when he played in Toronto, But yeah, I'm pumped about this. We also found out before the game yesterday that Tyrese Maxey of the 76ers, he's getting his first shoe deal with New Balance, and it will drop later this year. So it made me think, guys, with all of these collaborations with shoe brands, there's been some absolute dog shit collaborations. When we look at some interesting ones in sports, are there any that stand out for you, Dan?
So for me, I'm going to go a little bit outside of the basketball world. And this one, it's personal to me because my favorite team is Juventus, my favorite soccer team. And this year they came up with maybe the most random and I don't know, unwanted seems harsh, but they put Visit Detroit as their sponsor on the front of their jerseys.
Wow.
And it's like, hey, Italian team living in beautiful Italy, and like, hey, we want to promote Visit Detroit, because why wouldn't you go any other great place in Europe? No, visit Detroit, where they make cars, some Fords on the assembly. What do you visit in Detroit? I don't even know, but apparently this is what they want to put out into the world. So visit Detroit with Juventus is my weirdest collab of all time.
This looks like a bad Photoshop, doesn't it? Like, I can't even believe this is real.
Wow.
And obviously the Chamber of Commerce in Detroit have some millions in the bank. They're like, all right, we gotta get some more people, some more tourism in our city. Let's just pick a random soccer club from Europe to promote our city. I mean, I guess, but it just looks it looks so
it's so strange.
Doodle-ish.
It is just
very, very strange. Listen, a few years ago in the Super Bowl always has, or often has, like some iconic Super Bowl ads. And this collaboration just came out of left field.
Player coach. Got it. I'm open.
And you have Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, Tom Brady in a Dunkin' Donuts commercial. Dunkin' is from the Massachusetts area. This was, and these sweatsuits, I think sold, I don't know how many they made, but they sold out immediately. You couldn't get them. They're probably on the secondary market for, a few $1,000 or a few $100. But that commercial was just fire. And then as it relates to baseball, there was a really dope, and I saw one of these jerseys in real life when I went to the World Series, but Takashi Murakami, who is a famous designer, had this collab with the Dodgers. This is the designer here, and his iconic smiley face with the rainbow headdress is one of his iconic images. But this jersey was really dope. And when I saw it in LA, I was like, bro, how did you get that? Because I was on the Fanatic site trying to get I was like, there's no way. And he bought it on the secondary market, just this random fan. But in the wild, they look really dope. So that's one of my favorite collabs. I got to shout out Pharrell and Adidas, the jellyfish collabs, and Nigel Sylvester, the street race. He rides a BMX. He had these brick by brick Jordan 4s that are really sick. But those are my two favorite collabs, and most recently that have been out there in pop culture. Lindsay, you're in Montreal, so I don't know if your collabs are Montreal based, but is there anything else in the hell no? Okay, anything else? Was it just the Steph Vince Carters are the ones that you?
Yeah. The
ones
no,
that you
no,
loved?
I got a couple, but the Habs played here last night. I'm like, do I go watch them? Like, absolutely not. I don't care that they're playing the Wild. I cannot step foot in that building unless it is either the Raptors playing an exhibition game or the Leafs are in town. That is how much I dislike the Montreal Canadiens.
Okay.
Man, now Cabbie, I'm all riled up right now about this.
Hey, shout out to Gold Caulfield though. Gold Caulfield had a goal last night, which Dan predicted. So salute to you, Dan.
Yeah.
And salute to Gold Caulfield, friend of the show.
And salute to Cabbie for picking something positive, because like I was thinking like random things. Like you could go Dennis Rodman in North Korea, unexpected collaboration that I still do not understand.
Yeah, that was facts only.
Grant Hill and Fila, how it kind of ruined his ankles, and they tried to rebring that brand back, and it did not happen. Sorry, I love Grant Hill, but a terrible collaboration. I think this is one of the few L's on the court for Kobe Bryant. Was this shoe, and maybe you don't know, it's known to many as the Toaster or the Kobe, like Adidas 2. I looked them up. One is going for $6,000 for you to wear a toaster box or moon boots on your feet. These are trash, and I think like Kobe to me, I think we spoke about, he is my favorite player of all time. That's why I would wear number 8 and absolutely disrespect it because I had no skill like him. But these were awful. It looks at probably what an alien would dump in a toilet if they went to the bathroom in a toilet. And yeah, those are really upsetting. And then the next one to me was just so random because Manchester United celebrated one of like the biggest sports and like teams in the world. Had just listen. Can we get the audio on this?
Tomato juice?
Okay. So the audio on that was actually all you hear is like them in post production doing the glug 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 glug. Like it's tomato juice, and it's and it was so bad. But just like I remember this kind of before, there's TikTok and on Instagram, and people used to just show bad photos of their food. That this was making the round on this thing called Facebook. Not sure if people have heard of this. And I just couldn't believe it. I'm like, Manchester United is doing what? They're doing tomato juice, and like the players, the way that they were selling it, I
hope they like tomato juice because it's if you don't like tomato juice, it's disgusting. So
that collab, that must have been $1 billion sponsorship because it just feels pretty random. And then having the players drink it as well, that must have been like nine figure deal for the club.
The one that is crazy that I don't believe any of us were alive for when it was released. Maybe you were. I have no idea, guys. But Joe Namath, I want you to watch this commercial because no, Dan's never seen it before.
Okay.
Oh, no audio on this? The audio is everything on this. So we have some beautiful legs, and then going up here is
it's Joe Namath.
Joe Namath.
Oh, we're going back to like 1969 or something like that.
Yeah, I was like, I don't even know, but the audio on it is him talking about like how if they can make my legs look good, they can make anybody's legs look good. And I was like, especially at that time for him to do.
You went deep for that commercial.
One. Yeah. I was good. My dad brought this commercial like years ago, and I remember being like, "Sorry, who did what now? What?" And I could never understand it, but I don't.
So
know.
the weirdest sports collab Leaf wise, Matt Sundin playing for the Vancouver Canucks. I don't know if you guys remember this, but like when Sundin, it was heartbreaking for Leaf fans, and then Sundin being in a Canucks unit, playing for anybody other than the Leafs after he was captain of the Leafs for so long was just, damn, that was a weird collab.
So how are you feeling about, I don't know, being back in Toronto? I mean, we see your scars. Whether your scars were earned before you left Toronto to go to Vancouver, or you came back with scars from Vancouver to Toronto. How are you feeling, bro? How are things?
Yeah.
I'm feeling good. I mean, I think I've shoveled snow about 17 days in a row now, but I feel okay. I feel pretty good. I know that there's still a lot of folks that maybe are a little bit hurt by how quickly I dropped Vancouver for Toronto, but I feel pretty good about it. I feel really good. I got great new teammates.
Let's look at some of the tweets. We did not prep you for this. We want to show you how you're a traitor.
Oh, Chris needs to work on his spelling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then
deep down, everyone knew you were a Leafs homer. Oh, how did you wait?
Let's keep this going.
Rick, you traitor! It's hard seeing you all this Leafs talk out of you. Oh man, wow, bro. Sorry, fella.
These are all the upset Canucks fans that are not happy with me.
Read this one from Cole.
Dude, I unfollowed you to not see this stuff, but you keep showing up. Yeah, okay, so I'm a bad ex that keeps coming around. I guess Canucks fans aren't too happy with me. I make little jabs every once in a while on Twitter, like, "Hey, how good does Quinn Hughes look in a Minnesota Wild uniform?" And everybody's very angry at me.
We're not angry with you. We accept you into our family. Just don't dump us as nasty as you did Vancouver. And we want to, welcome you back into the fold and send you to a Leafs game. But not just any Leafs game. Next week, we want you to sit in the most interesting seats in the house with ProLine. We saw Cabbie sit there. We want to send you there, but you know that Cabbie and I aren't going to just let you get off the hook very nicely.
Do I get to go with you, one of you guys? Like, is this...
No. Well, no. Yeah.
No,
Lindsay will be away. I'll be away. We're gonna actually lean on some suggestions from the community, that the squad that watches the show, that engages with the show, and have them make some suggestions of who you should attend your first Toronto Maple Leaf game with since being back in the GTA. So we want to take all suggestions. We want to make this happen for Dan as we reintegrate him into the 416. So all you got to do is you got to like our page, got to follow our page, got to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's pretty simple. And make a suggestion of who you think that Dan should attend a Toronto Maple Leafs game with, sitting in the most interesting seats in the house.
This sounds like it could be a lot of fun, but it could also be scary depending on what the suggestions
I have a lot of suggestions for this. You are not prepped for this, my friend. So yes, go follow us on YouTube underneath the Nation Network. Make sure you just subscribe, like, in the comments, say who you think Dan should go to a Toronto Maple Leafs game with. And just by commenting, liking and subscribing on YouTube, you will be entered in to win tickets to go see a Toronto Maple Leaf game, but you have to be in Ontario. And my suggestion to start things off, because I looked him up the other day, Lou Bega, still alive. Let's go.
How about Matt Sundin? Can we make a call? I mean, he was in town like 2 weeks ago to honor Austin Matthews.
That's a real welcome
get him
to
back?
the family. I like this.
Bring him back from Sweden. Okay, that could work.
And we have the budget. We could put him on a PJ.
Yeah.
Or we could put him on Ever Rogers' PJ. But we can get him on a PJ and get him here to watch a game with you.
Bon Jovi would be fun if anybody wants to suggest Bon Jovi. I've always wanted to ask him about the plaque he has, or he still has the thing up at Scotiabank, doesn't he?
Like a banner, I think. Well, you'll be able to see it when you go to the game.
Yeah, I've always wanted to ask him about the Bon Jovi banner, so that would be great.
Well, I cannot wait to hear the suggestions. Make sure to go to follow us on YouTube underneath the Nation Network. But let's talk a little bit of Leafs. We're going to talk practice, and I'm going to tell you I'm going to leave because I have to go catch the speed skaters because I don't want them to skate away from me. But I will leave you guys with this. They had practice for the first time in a long time. And here is what head coach Craig Berube had to say about the importance of practice. And then Dennis Hildebeest was asked about the fight that happened the night before and how he would do in a fight. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Let's get your reaction to these clips.
Yeah, you don't practice, you lose structure. And I thought that we lost structure on our PK last night. We lost structure on our 5-on-5 defensive game last night. And throughout the trip a little bit too at times. So it was good to get back to it and work on some of the D zone.
What do you think would be harder, like getting to the other side of the ice or like the actual fighting?
That's a good question. I mean, a mix of both. Probably gassed by I get to the end there.
Short and sweet from Hildebeest. He might be right though. Like skating 200 yards or 200 feet in all that. How much does goalie equipment weigh? Like 30 pounds, man. 20 pounds, 30 pounds.
What's the old saying? A goalie loses 5 or 6 pounds every game, like just from the sheer amount of work that they have to put in on a night to night basis. So I could imagine like lugging yourself across the ice is always treacherous. Anytime a goalie has to come off the ice when they you're down a goal in the third period, like, hey, goalie, especially in beer league, like, man, I'm not skating all the way over to the bench. Give me a break. You guys are going to lose the puck in 2 seconds anyways. Like, we're not pulling the goalie. Who are we kidding ourselves?
But here's the thing about Hildebeest. Bro is 6'7". Who's fighting? I don't know. Maybe he looks 6'9", 6'10" on skates. Who's taking that challenge? I mean, John Gibson, we talk about the Red Wings tonight. I don't think he's fighting Dennis. I don't think anybody's fighting Dennis Hildebeest. And in fact, I haven't looked at the lineups at the time of this recording to see who is starting in net for Toronto, whether it's Woll or the Hildebeest. But I don't know if anybody's taking that challenge. So, big fella, you don't have to worry about being gassed because nobody's going to step up to fight you, my dude.
No confirmed starter yet for the Leafs tonight against the Detroit Red Wings, but Cab, I kind of hinted at it yesterday. This game, I don't know where exactly it is on the must-win-a-meter, but it's like there's somewhere on the must-win-a-meter that this game lands. It's not like, oh my God, season is over if we lose this one, but it might be like on the must-win-a-meter, like this is one we kind of have to have if we want a hope of catching Detroit at some point in the standings. Like if they lose tonight, Detroit is 10 points up in the standings on the Leafs. And with, after tonight, there'll be 32 games remaining. To make up that kind of a gap in 32 games is next to impossible. Montreal keeps winning. They won again last night in regulation over Minnesota. We know that Tampa has just been on such a heater. They're already 10 points clear of where the Leafs are in the standings. So you're getting to a point where the top 3 spots in the Atlantic are not out of reach completely, but very close, given now that you're on the back end of the season. So really, what is intriguing looking at this and seeing how hot Detroit, Montreal, and Tampa have been, even though the Leafs have played super well over the last month, Cab, like they're kind of just playing for one of those wild card spots with Buffalo and Boston. By the way, Buffalo won last night. Boston got their doors blown off, but that's where the urgency comes in here for the Leafs is like, okay, we're almost playing against 2, 3, 4 other teams for those wild card spots, and the top 3 spots in the division are almost out of reach at this point.
It's certainly an important game, and Detroit has won since dropping back-to-back games to start the 2026 calendar. Detroit's reeled off 6 of 7, so they're coming in cooking. And as Craig Berube mentioned about working on specific things in practice today and actually having a practice, special teams certainly need some work. Detroit is, what do we got here, as a top 6 power play unit, and Toronto is fielding a top 5 penalty kill unit. But as we saw against Minnesota, Toronto's PK definitely needed some work. They gave up 2 goals in those 3 opportunities to the Wild, and Quinn Hughes played amazing. But this is an important game, not the most important, but Dan, as you outlined, it is an important one for Toronto. And Detroit's coming in rolling. They've won back-to-back against Montreal and Ottawa, and this is a divisional opponent, so the stakes are a little bit higher. I'm looking forward to tonight and seeing if we get a baseball score like Boston got slapped last night, or it's more of like a 3-2 affair, which will be fine too. As long as Toronto wins, it makes this thing interesting.
Yeah, and Detroit has had the Leafs number this year. They beat them pretty good early on in the season in October, and most recently beat them in overtime. So Leafs are 0-2-1 against the Red Wings so far this year. This is the final matchup between these two. Let's hear from Jake McCabe, who had a thought on the Detroit Red Wings and the matchup tonight.
Do you feel like you owe Detroit one?
Definitely. Yeah, I know. It's they've had a good year. They've had our number this year, so it's a huge divisional game for us.
That is Jake McCabe speaking on the matchup tonight against Detroit. And, the Leafs, as good as they've been, as mentioned, Cab, this is still very much a team on the outside of the playoffs looking in. Matthews has upped his game, and we've seen the Leafs come together. But their 2 most recent losses outside of the Vegas game where they lost it and blew it in OT, you got blown out against Minnesota. You got blown out last week by the Utah Mammoth. I think this team, their B game just hasn't been good enough on a lot of nights, right? It's either like they blow a lead and lose that way, or they get blown out. So I want to see not just tonight, but through the remainder of the season, in order for the Leafs to catch that playoff spot, they're going to need probably 20 wins out of their final 33 games to get to 96 points, which is where it's kind of trending to get into the postseason at this point. Like, your B game is going to have to be better. Okay, you're going to have some tough nights, but how do you stay in a game when you don't have your fastball? That's something the Leafs have got to figure out.
I like what you did there.
That's what the Leafs need to figure out. And so we bring in our next guest, who is a legend around these parts. He is Adnan Virk joining us. You've seen him on MLB Network, where he won an Emmy Award. You also see him on the NHL Network and as the host of Amazon Prime Monday Night Hockey. And last year also became an author with Cinephile, interviews, essays, and tales from the red carpet. It is Adnan Virk. Did I miss anything?
Listen,
Adnan, man.
I want to start by saying I'm offended that Lindsay is not here, okay? Cab knows nobody is listening to Off the Roster more than me. I have feedback on all of you. So first off, to Lindsay, who is not here, maybe she's off singing Mambo number 5, but love the fact she reps the Rat Pack as hard as I do, and loves Dean Martin. Dean Martin, his license plate used to read Drunky because his reputation was that he was such a lush. Secondly, to my man Riccio, who we go way back to a time when I would show up on Vancouver radio. I never actually have seen you, so I do like the Baker Mayfield doppelganger comments. But more importantly, thank God I don't drink alcohol, because if I did, if I took a shot every time you mentioned you were Italian, I'd be calling you guys right now from Betty Ford. Unbelievable shout-outs to being – this guy loves you, sir, like you wouldn't believe, straight from Woodbridge. I'm like, yep, I got it. I do this because I'm Italian. Got it. Well done. Right on brand from Riccio. And lastly, to my brother, Cabral Richards. Taking a page in a Cabs book when he yells at middle names to Aaron Rodgers, Cabral, Tashaka, Habib Richards, my dear friend of almost 30 years. I saw our old boss, Anthony Ciccione, at the Leafs game Monday. I told him, his wife, Anna, we owe you everything. Me, Cab, all of us. And I saw Neil, your boy, who also mentioned the fact I don't drink. He's like, I give you a free beer every time I see you, but it's a waste. You and Cab, you guys are killing me. Great to see you both.
Neil Acharya?
No, Neil from Fellas X.
Neil Scott. Neil the suit. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, listen. What a great introduction, and it was a great segue by you, Dan, mentioning fastball leads fastball, and here Virk shows up with is that a pitching ninja hat?
Yeah, I need like this. This is a pitching. So Rob Friedman, who you've mentioned to me before, how much you and I are both fans of his. I had him on MLB Network, and I said, dude, I love your work. And I said, love your gear. And he's like, I'll send you a couple hats. I'm like, great. So I kept one. I gave one to one of the Little League dads that I know. Dude, I think this is fire. Isn't this good? I wore this just for Off the Roster.
Much appreciated.
It's pretty
brother.
incredible. It is pretty incredible. So this Major League Baseball offseason, Adnan, it's different in a way, especially for Jays fans, where, in prior years when they'd miss out on the big fish in free agency, it was just like, again, we missed out, like no Shohei or no Sasaki. But this year they got their guy, they got Okamoto, they landed Dylan Cease. And so missing out on Kyle Tucker, I certainly didn't feel the same level of disappointment from Jays fans because, hey, they already spent a bleep ton of money and it looks like it's going to be they've built a better roster than they started with last year when they went on a run to finish in the World Series.
Yeah, without question, Dan. There's nothing more frustrating if your team overachieves. And certainly the Blue Jays did that by 20 wins and then stands pat. But the Blue Jays certainly did not do that. They were very aggressive. They targeted Dylan Cease, who either he or Framber Valdez were the top pitching targets available, so they got their guy. And as far as Okamoto is concerned, I'm a little cautious only because Japanese players, sometimes there is that element of assimilation. For every Shohei Ohtani, there's a Kosuke Fukudome. For every Daisuke Matsuzaka, there's a Kei Igawa or Hideki Arabu. So these guys are not guarantees, but I read some scouts saying best case he could be 260 to 270. He could be 18 to 25 home runs. He plays a Gold Glove defense. Jays would be thrilled with that for $60 million. Obviously, getting Ponce, you see what happens. He can do with help as far as bolstering the rotation. And Rodgers certainly helps in the bullpen. I don't know if he's the closer, if Hoffman's still that guy. I understand missing on Kyle Tucker hurts, but the Jays made what we all believe to be a very aggressive offer. I mean, 10 years, $350 is a lot of cheddar for a guy with a 136 OPS plus last season who hasn't always been healthy. I think Kyle Tucker is a really nice player. I don't think he's a transcendent player. I don't think he's a generational talent. I think he's a really good player, and I would have given him that money. Instead, he took $60 million to AAV from the Dodgers. It happens. This is the life that we lead. Bo Bichette losing him, of course it hurts. This guy's 180, 185 hits. He would have been the batting champion if it wasn't for Aaron Judge. Losing Bo hurts, but I do think the Jays have to hope continued maturation and excellence from Addison Barger, from Ernie Clement, from the guys like Lucas stepping up. Kirk continues to be an all-star catcher. Vladdy's Vladdy. Springer in his final season of his career. And let's hope Anthony Santander, who I was on the record of saying it was a good signing 2 years ago, this guy hit 44 home runs and had a disastrous season and he was hurt. If he can get back to being a semblance of that guy, all of a sudden Santander helps bolster the offense and the Jays aren't as concerned about missing out on Kyle Tucker.
Virk, you mentioned Framber Valdez is one of the prize free agents that's left on the market or that remains as a free agent. What is your read as to why Framber Valdez has yet to either re-sign with Houston or Baltimore, as it's been rumored? And do you think that Kyle Tucker and Bo Bichette, who you eloquently explained their productivity and their resumes, do you think their shortened deals have changed the market in 2026?
Without question. I think you're bang on, Cab. I think that in the past, we've come a long way from Miguel Cabrera and Albert Pujols getting 10-year deals and people realizing it didn't work out. Now the only cats who get 10-year deals are the young players, right? So we'll give that to a Juan Soto. We'll give a 10-year deal to Fernando Tatis. That makes sense. But if you're around, Bo's turning 28 opening day. hey, how about $40 million a year, and you can opt after year one and opt out after year two. So if Bo balls out, he can still go sign that 10-year deal if he wants to, or he can sign another short-term deal. Similarly for Tucker, and by the way, I would have had concerns if he'd accepted the Jays offer. If he had said, I have 10 for $350 or 4 for $240, clearly he wouldn't trust his talent if he took the 10 for $350. Because right, if he goes 4 for $240, at 33, he'll be a free agent. Clearly he can get $110 million at the age of 33 for however many years he plays. So it just makes more sense. But I'm with you, Cab. Your overarching point is correct, which is that these teams are saying, all right, we're not going to give you the guaranteed money. These contracts don't age well, 37, 38, 39. Well, we'll give you a ton of money up front. And the player's like, yeah, like I'll bet on myself. Absolutely. Kyle Tucker is not the second best player in baseball, but by average annual value, he is $60 million a year. It's a huge win for King Tuck. I think it's a brilliant move by him and his management team. And for the Dodgers, they don't care. The luxury tax, $413 million. We'll defer some more money. We'll sell some merchandise. If they three-peat, they couldn't care less what happens. And I know everyone wants to hate the Dodgers, and I get it. But I think it's helpful to have a Goliath in a sport. I do think NFL is good when the Cowboys are good. And I hate the Cowboys, as you know, as a diehard Eagles fan. Shout out to the Birds, by the way. Look at my phone protector. Still the Super Bowl champions, still the Collabs forever. But I think it's helpful to say, hey, I either love the Cowboys or I hate the Cowboys. Or in basketball, I love the Lakers or I hate the Lakers or the Celtics. So in baseball, it used to be the big bad Yankees. Now it's the Dodgers. Like, come get me. Fine. Either they're going to win and they're going to be a three-peat and that's a dynasty, or they're going to lose. And everybody collectively will be thrilled if they do indeed lose. But back to Valdez. He's not going to re-sign with Houston. I think Baltimore makes the most sense because they desperately need starting pitching. They've already went and got Pete Alonso. They traded Grayson Rodriguez for Taylor Ward, who's a terrific player, had an excellent year for the Angels. I think Alonso's giving you 40 and 100 no matter what, but their starting pitching is rather porous. Framber makes the most sense there. I think a deal would have been 7 for 200, kind of like what Cease got. Now they might be going shorter term, longer AAV, but I like Baltimore as a good landing spot for Framber.
Listen, why do you, this is more of a general question as, you know, every league needs a villain, and the Dodgers are filling that role right now as the villain of baseball. But why do you think that fans side with owners when it comes to calling for a salary cap?
It's a great question, because for years when people would say players versus owners, you know, it's millionaires versus billionaires, I was always highly amused by anybody who should on the side of the owners. I'm like, most of us, especially great in Canada, grew up middle class. So why on earth are you siding with a billionaire, capital B, versus the players? And I guess it's easy to go, I can't believe that guy gets paid $1 million to play baseball. I could have played baseball. I could do his job. Like, yeah, but the billionaire is the guy who's really controlling the strings and has all the money, all the persons, et cetera. So I always found it odd that like the average Joe found an owner to be more relatable than a player. I'm like, you should relate more to the player. They're more like us. If they miss a check, it would impact them more. But I think what's happened is that you've really seen this division between the haves and the have-nots, at least in perception. Here's what the reality is, that it's actually untrue, because there hadn't been a repeat World Series winner in the last 25 years until this season, since the Yankees dynasty of the late 90s. So anybody who says, well, baseball is no good because it's always the same teams winning, not true. It's actually been very surprising teams that have won. Small market teams like the Royals have won. We've seen teams like the Marlins won. Shout out to David Sampson. So this is not a situation where only the big market teams win. Only the big market teams sign players, yes, and that's annoying. If you say Kyle Tucker's only going to go to one of Jays, Dodgers, Yankees, Mets, Cubs, I agree, that's frustrating. But as far as actually winning, I mean, it's a crapshoot. A.J. Preller's done his best with the Padres. He was spending everybody's money. Manny Machado, $300 million. I'll go get Soto. I'll give Tatis. Padres go belly up. Like, even the teams that are the favorites. The Yankees, by the way, I know they're looked at now as being cheap, and the fact they don't spend. They're top 5 in payroll. My man Hal Steinbrenner is still spending almost $300 million, and the Jays beat him. Plain and simple. Jays smacked him around 8-5 in the season series, beat him in the playoffs. So spending the most money doesn't mean you're going to guaranteed victory. But I get the sense from fans, and I do understand people going, hey, I just wish the Pirates could go make a free agent signing. I'm like, I get that. It's frustrating if you're a fan of the Pirates and you go, Paul Skeens is going to leave in 4 years. Should we trade him now and see who will give us a boatload to the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Mets, the Cubs, or ride this thing out? But me personally, Cap, I've always found it highly amusing when people get more mad at the players than they do the owners.
Yeah, to me, like it's the owners right now, Adnan, that are using the Dodgers to try and, you know, cap players' salaries. They realize, oh, wait, we can't cry poor right now. Like I feel like that's not going to be a message that goes over well with a lot of people. So we need another way to try and get where we want to go, and that's oh yeah, the Dodgers are ruining baseball and we need a salary cap to fix this. That's the way that they're changing course from where they went in the past, where it was like, we can't afford to keep paying these salaries the way that they are going.
Yeah, Dan, it's so funny. The whole concept of a salary cap, I'm like, what is that? I'm like, basically, it's restricting yourself because you can't trust yourself, right? You're the fat kid at the buffet. Like, I can't stop. Can someone just please put me on a lower salary diet? Someone get me a Fitbit and track my steps because I just can't do this by myself. And I'm like, it's up to you. And that's why the players are so resistant to the salary cap, right? Going back to the days of Marvin Miller and Curt Flood, A Well-Paid Slave. Great book, by the way, about Curt Flood and his journey. It's like, listen, it's a free market system. You pay me what you want to pay me. Don't bemoan the fact afterwards that, oh my God, I can't believe we paid this guy 10. That was your decision. The market determined that. So that's why the players have always been so averse to a salary cap. Now, the owners will challenge back and say, listen, salary cap works in hockey. It works in football. It certainly works in basketball. You've seen those players get paid. I think the one element which certainly even a casual fan might agree with this, I wish that there was a floor. I wish you could force the Minnesota Twins to spend a certain amount of money, or the Miami Marlins, or whichever team you want to insulate there. But I agree with you, Dan. I mean, ultimately, if the owners are trying to regulate themselves, that's kind of on them, not necessarily on the players.
Yeah, and we'll see where it ends up. But I do wonder, Adnan, like, what's going on with the Yankees? Are they going to get this deal with Cody Bellinger done? It seems like they're both playing a staring contest. I know I want you, and I know you want me, but we haven't gotten this done yet.
Dan, it's fascinating. It's a 5-year, $160 million deal on the table. That's $32 million a year for Cody Bellinger. I think it's a really good deal for both sides. This guy's a former MVP, former Rookie of the Year, and then he hit a .65. And you go, oh my God, he might be like a non-roster player. He has a great resurgence with the Cubs, hits the open market, goes to the Yankees. And he was excellent last year for the Yankees. Almost 30 and 100. You know, as far as his numbers, almost hits 300. His defense is outstanding. Aaron Boone tells me he's like, he'll play anywhere. Like he covets playing first base. He's happy to play every one of the outfield positions, and he's above average as far as his speed is concerned as well. So does everything well, clearly fits well the Yankees. Look at his numbers last year. Slugging percentage demonstrably higher at Yankee Stadium, benefited by the short porch. Clearly he's a guy that feels comfortable in pinch trips, and they want him and have a need for him. Just get the deal done. 5 for 160 makes sense. Again, $32 million a year. But Scott Boras' camp wants a 7-year deal. So they're looking more like a 7-2-10. They've looked around, and nobody's willing to offer that 7-year deal. So it kind of reminds me, Joel Sherman of the New York Post made this point to me on MLB Network last night, kind of like DJ LeMahieu. LeMahieu wanted to be with the Yankees. They wanted him as well. They kept waiting. Deal got done January 27th. As we sit here right now recording this episode, it's January 21st. I think in the next week, Bellinger's the last big name free agent. I think he'll re-sign with the Yankees. Maybe Boras gets the number up to 175. Let's defer some money. Let's figure this out. Give it a 6-year option, something. But my thought was, after Tucker went, could the Jays and the Mets, who were so in on Tucker, go sign Bellinger? Everything I've heard is that Bellinger's just not crazy about signing with the Blue Jays. He wants to be with the Yankees. Maybe the Mets give him some crazy AAV. They need an outfielder. They need a left-handed bat. But I think ultimately Bellinger will be in the Big Apple. I think he re-signs to the Yankees. It's just an elaborate staring contest right now.
Let's stay in the AL East. You kind of touched on this team earlier talking about Framber Valdez, but as Jays fans have been so transfixed on the moves that the front office has made, what has Baltimore been quietly doing this offseason?
Yeah, I think Baltimore's done a really good job, Cav, signing Pete Alonso. I was at the winter meetings there in Florida, and the first day of the winter meetings might have been the worst thing I've ever experienced in my life. There's literally nothing happening. I had to watch my beloved Eagles Monday Night Football game, which was awful. Jalen Hurts had a terrible game, and I was on call, and they're like, if anything happens, we're going with breaking news. Like, it could be like, I don't know, Kurt Suzuki is now the manager of the Angels. He's having a press conference. We're going to go live right now. That's how quiet things were in Orlando. And thank God for the Mets giving us some news. Day 2, Edwin Diaz and Timmy Trumpet flees to go to the Dodgers. And then day 3, well, I'm on set with the great Ron Darling, one of my favorite people. Loved watching him as a part of the 86 Mets Hall of Famer. And he's an outstanding broadcaster. 12:58, we're going live at 1. Alonso to the Orioles. We're like, what? Like, that was an absolute stunner. And Pete Alonso is one of those guys that just for whatever reason, the Mets didn't appreciate his talent and I guess kind of viewed him as a one-trick pony. Like David Stearns would not deny the fact that Pete's got power, but didn't want to give him that long-term contract. And last year he signed a 2-year deal, $30 million for year 1, opt-out, which is what he did. He had an excellent season. And the Orioles like, we'll commit to you. And it's fascinating because Schwarber is 33, turning 34. He can get a 5-year deal and was the runner-up to Ohtani. But Alonso, who, again, I'm not exaggerating. Look at his numbers. He's always averaging 40 to 100. You don't get that kind of power in the game. The Mets did not want to give him that long-term deal. So I think Baltimore, Mike Elias smartly said, hey, we had the worst production among first basemen in baseball. Baltimore Orioles, the worst. Let's go get Pete Alonso. He instantly supplies power for them. Ward's a guy, honestly, provides more offense for them. Again, they're lean when it comes to starting pitching, but here's where it gets tricky for the Jays. They had this remarkable season. Nobody can deny that, and improving by 20 wins. But the Yankees, if they re-sign Bellinger, like, they're going to be better. Carlos Rodon's coming back May 1st. Garrett Cole is coming back June 1st. They still got their horses, and, of course, Aaron Judge. The Red Sox lose Bregman, but I do think signing Suarez is great. They've got like 7 starting pitchers now, and like their top 3 is pretty strong. If you look at Garrett Crochet and Ranger Suarez, like, that's a pretty formidable top 2. Maybe Sonny Gray's a 4th at this point in his career. Peyton Toy's a great young pitcher, and they've got studs all over the place as far as Roman Anthony's concerned, Marcelo Mayer. So like Boston, like, they're still there. And now Baltimore looks like they're going to be improving. Thank God, at least for the Rays, they're not doing much of consequence. But that's what gives me pause for Toronto, is that a couple years ago, everyone assumed the Orioles would be a dynasty with these great young players. But Adley Rutschman took a step back, and their pitching wasn't very good. Well, Gunnar Henderson is still great. They've now got Basayo, who could be a great catcher for years to come. And it feels like they're willing to spend it. They get Framber Valdez, all of a sudden that becomes a more intriguing team and a bigger competitor there for the Jays.
And we got to shout out Louis Varlin, who's watching, I think, on the gram or on YouTube. So salute to you, sir. We can't wait to see you throw some pitches in 2026. Speaking of pitchers, earlier Dan had mentioned there was a terrible collab between Juventus and the city of Detroit. Juventus just has this patch that says "Visit Detroit" on their stomachs. As it's January 21st right now, your best guess, does Tarik Skubal finish the season as a Detroit Tiger?
First off, shout out to Louis Varlin. As part of that mass access the Twins had, Buck Showalter had the best line. He said the MVP of the trade deadline was the Minnesota Twins traveling secretary. Because you know how much work it is? 11 players to find out where they should coordinate all those flights. Unbelievable. And Varlin obviously threw a ton of heat for the Blue Jays, so love the fact he was able to be impactful. This Skubal story, Cab, is nuts. Our dear friend Mike Kiss, one of our closest friends from our days at Ryerson,
that's right.
He's been agonizing over this. I text Kiss all the time about this. I go, Skubal is, again, a generational player. He's unbelievable, 2-time Cy Young Award winner. He could be a 3-time, which would be amazing to think about. But as even Kiss said to me, if you sign this guy, you could cripple the franchise for a long time. If Yamamoto is worth $300+ million and certainly proved that in the postseason, then Skubal, I think, is a guy who wants that kind of money. And even look at the arbitration numbers. So the Tigers offered, I think it was around 18.8, 19 in that number. It was under 20. And Skubal's camp countered with 32. So as Harold Reynolds said to me, my MLB Network colleague, do the math. Like, Skubal wants 10 years for $320. That's why he's saying I'll take $32 million 1 year. And if he gets that award, by the way, it'd be most ever for a pitcher in arbitration. Vlad, of course, got 19.9 in arbitration for a player. My best guess is he is not going to be a member of the Tigers a year from now, because I think the Tigers say to themselves, can we commit that kind of money to one guy who's a pitcher? And I know he's unbelievable, but pitchers do get hurt. They do get worn down. And if we pay this guy everything, then that's it. We got nothing left to pay anybody else. I think that's the concern. That's the challenge right now for Detroit. I think if it's another team, obviously a more big market team, it's different. Now, Detroit has a great, rich history of baseball. They love their Tigers. They've been around 100+ years, from Ty Cobb to so many others. You know, I was going to say Al Kaline, but maybe Alan Trammell, Lou Whitaker, whatever you like. Bottom line is this. Skubal's the guy that's a stud. I think. Yeah, Hank Greenberg. What random Tiger can I mention? Chet Lemon, whatever you like. But the bottom line is.
Prince Fielder. Yeah. Sorry. Anyway.
Prince Fielder, another good one. Like, dude, the Tigers, because here's the thing. If the Tigers want to keep him, they do it. They do it right. What's the number? 10 for 320. Let's get this thing done. The fact that they haven't done shows you that they're not willing to pay that kind of cheddar. So if I'm the Tigers, I would think, to use the term that Steve Foss once used, he said this about Ohtani when the Angels didn't trade him, it's managerial malpractice. I'm of the same belief. By starting the season with Skubal and knowing it's inevitable he's going to be gone, trade him now. Teams are going to give you more now than they will at the trade deadline when they only get 3 months of Tarik Skubal. So unless you know you're going to give him 10 for 350, which I don't believe you're going to do, I don't even know if you should do, quite frankly. Trade him now. We all know the Dodgers, in addition to having these deep pockets, have a wealth of prospects, as do the Mets. So those teams will give you top prospects, and you can re-sign them. My best is, honestly, I do not think he'll be a member of the Detroit Tigers, which is unfortunate for J.K. Simmons. Thank you to Dan Riccio for mentioning my book. J.K. Simmons is a huge Tigers fan, and as the blurb on my book, go buy Cinephile now, Amazon.ca. J.K. Simmons loves the Tigers.
Last baseball question for me. You kind of touched on it, and just speaking about pitchers is taking me on this thread here. Garrett Cole is recovering from Tommy John. He's 35. Carlos Rodon is having a surgery to shave down bone spurs in his pitching elbow and remove some loose bodies. The Blue Jays and the Yankees finished the last season with the exact same record, 94 and 68. And as you mentioned, the Blue Jays improved from 24 to 25 by 20 wins. So what is a realistic expectation that Toronto Blue Jays should have of their squad? Because right now, it's like 100 games or 100 wins or whatever, but manage the expectations or confirm them for Blue Jays fans leading into 2026.
Just even your reference to loose bodies makes me think of the fact that you used to work at the Uptown Theater in the late 90s.
I did.
This is pre-text. When I saw you in class, you go, dude, I saw one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life, the Uptown. Because, of course, Dan, I worked at the Carlton Movie Theater, which is still in existence, which is amazing. Go to college in Carlton, support independent cinema, foreign films, etc. Cab worked at the Uptown, which is a little bit more mainstream, populist, etc. Anyways, he sees me the next day. We're both ushers here, now working in the business. So I said, what'd you see? He goes, dude, I saw one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. When you say loose bodies, it makes me think of Idle Hands, which stars Devin Sawa and Jessica Alba.
Awful. It was a 0 out of 10. And I think he's from Vancouver, too, where Dan used to live. But anyway, it was just an atrocious film.
So with regards to Carlos Rodon and his loose bodies, thankfully he doesn't have idle hands because he will be throwing for the New York Yankees on May 1st. I asked my buddy Aaron Boone about it, and Boone's like, yeah, Rodon's back May 1st, Garrett Cole's back June 1st. But as the three of us know, this is one of the things I'm always amused by in pro sports. Guys go, this guy's going to be out 4 to 6, he'll be back. I'm like, but it's not just a snap of the fingers. As you pointed out astutely, Cabbie, he's 35 years old, coming off of Tommy John. Like, this is a major injury. Like, yeah, he might come back and be Garrett Cole, and I hope he is. He's a great guy. I root for him. He's an award winner. He's been tremendous, but it might take him a few months to get back into shape. It might take him June, July, and by August he's rolling, or who knows. And Rodon's a guy that's thrown a lot. And the reason why the Yankees actually need pitching help is because their other guys are actually stretched out. Cam Schlittler was unbelievable last season, right? I know everybody in Toronto is thrilled about Trey Savage. Equally, where I live here in North Jersey, everyone is thrilled with Cam Schlittler, what he did against the Red Sox. But he was also a rookie last season. Let's see how year two impacts him. Will Warren threw a lot of innings, most he's ever thrown. Max Fried, high-salaried guy, most innings he's ever thrown. So three guys there throw a ton of innings. Rodon's not back till May 1st. Cole's not back till June 1st. The Yankees need another arm right now. They should re-sign Bellinger and go get another starting pitcher. And the most intriguing name out there right now, fellas, is Freddie Peralta. He's an absolute stud with the Brewers, and his salary makes him affordable to every single team. He's only making $8 million. And they did this before, right? They traded Corbin Burns. Let's go get some prospects. The Brewers right now, Freddie Peralta, you want him, you go get him. If I'm Brian Cashman, the Yankees, I go get Freddie Peralta. I think this guy's an absolute stud, and he would really bolster that starting pitching and then perhaps make them the team to beat in the East. Because bottom line is, to use a pet expression of off the roster, belt to ass. That's what the Blue Jays did to the Yankees last year, right? The Jays pushed him around, especially at Rogers Center. Like, don't come to my house. Toronto beat them. They beat them badly, and they beat them at Yankee Stadium. And I was there when the Jays clinched, and I saw the long faces of Yankee fans, and I saw hundreds of Blue Jays fans cheering and singing "Oh Canada" after Toronto won. You tell me that didn't sting to Yankees fans? So I think New York should be careful about thinking, oh, we got our guys coming back, we'll be fine. Re-sign Bellinger, but go get an arm and go get Peralta, because otherwise the Jays are still the team to beat. As far as realistic expectations, Cab, I think Toronto is the best team right now in the American League East, but I do think Boston's coming for them because that young talent and the impact of Suarez. I do think the Yankees are right there. I haven't checked the baseball prospectus, but it feels like 90 wins for the Jays, which, again, a year ago I would have said 78 wins, 80 wins, so that's already a 10-win improvement, at least with projections. But it's going to be a slog. And as far as best teams, the AL, I think Seattle's still right there with them. Obviously, they challenged the Jays and the ALCS. They haven't got worse. They re-signed Josh Naylor. Shout out to Mississauga. They got the great starting pitching staff. So I think the Jays are still the team to beat in the East. But realistic expectations, 90 wins, and they should be able to win that division. But Boston, New York are coming for them.
Okay, before we let you go here, Adnan, I need realistic expectations. You might not know this about me, but I am Italian, and tomorrow
I'm going to get Riccio a shirt. The next time I'm home, my parents live in Maple. I hung out in Maple all day Sunday, and I got to tell you, Dan, wherever I went, I said, I'm going to get this shirt for you. It says, "You bet your culo I'm Italian." Like, that's a huge hit. That is a huge hit in the Woodbridge Maple area with which you are very familiar.
Very, very much so. But I do want to know, with tomorrow, a movie guy, you cinephile, everybody Oscars, go get the book. It's incredible. And, tomorrow, I believe Oscar nominations do come out tomorrow. How many Oscar noms are Nick Pileggi and Robert De Niro going to get for the Alto Nights? Maybe none. I don't, even as even Italian like me, I can't really couch for that movie too hard. But listen, one battle after another, I'm sure, is going to clean house.
I rep Italian American culture hard, as Cab knows. I love Pacino, De Niro, and of course, one of my favorite scenes. I don't want to spoil sentimental value for you guys, but I doubt you're going to see it. Stellan Skarsgård won Best Supporting Actor at the Golden Globes. The best scene in the movie. It's about a father trying to reconcile with his daughters, but the funniest scene in the movie is he's giving DVDs to a kid, and one of them is of the movie Irreversible, and he looks at the kid and just goes, "Monica Bellucci." I'm like, yes.
There's a horrifying scene in that film.
Correct.
So it's a funny gesture in the movie, but it's a horrifying scene in that film.
Honestly, it was like the scene in Cape Fear. You know where De Niro's the only guy laughing during Problem Child and smoking the cigar? That's what it was like watching. Like, I'm the only guy laughing. And be like, well, if you've seen Irreversible, you know what an unbelievably inappropriate gift it is to give. But the point is, they make him pretty in Italy, and Monica Bellucci is where it's at. But as far as the Oscar nominations are concerned, one battle after another thing's going to be a huge hit. Cab and I both loved it. I think it's the favorite right now to win Best Picture. P.T. Anderson is one of the great auteurs of the last 50 years. I'm looking right now on my wall. I have a huge poster of There Will Be Blood, which he should have won Oscars for. Although No Country for Old Men's a great movie, and that was a great Oscar race. But between Boogie Nights, Magnolia, There Will Be Blood, Phantom Thread, The Master, like this guy's made banger after banger. 11-time Oscar nominee.
Phantom Thread was not a banger, nor was The Master a banger.
Unbelievable, great.
They were not bangers. No.
Okay.
Boogie Nights was a banger. One battle after another, bangers. And There Will Be Blood is pretty good, but not a banger.
There Will Be Blood is unbelievable. Come on. I still like The Varsity. It was unbelievable. It still transfixed me.
Who cares where you saw it? It's not a banger. It's by definition.
I'm trying to appeal to this Toronto audience. The point is, 11-time Oscar nominee P.T. Anderson. He's been nominated 5 times for writing, 3 times for picture, 3 times as a director. So he's obviously going to win this year as a director. Might win for screenplay. Could be Sean Baker-esque. We saw that a year ago, right? Honora won for picture, director, actor. I could see an interesting situation where P.T. Anderson ends up winning for screenplay, ends up winning director, and the film wins Best Picture. I did love Hamnet, though, Dan. Hamnet's an unbelievable movie. It won the Golden Globe. My wife saw it, loved it. Jessie Buckley, I think, is the favorite to win Best Actress. So I know that was a huge hit, by the way, in Toronto. Won the Audience Award at the film festival. So I think one battle after another is going to do very well tomorrow. I think Hamnet's going to do great. And the film that Cab won't watch, but he should, because every single person that's seen it loves it, is Marty Supreme. From one half of the Safdie brothers, Timothée Chalamet is going to win Best Actor. It's an exhilarating thriller. Why are you mehing? This is a great movie. You got to go watch it. I'm telling you.
I saw Forrest Gump, bro. Do I need to see another movie about a ping pong guy? Like, come on, bro.
I'm telling you.
And also, he wins over Michael B. Jordan plays 2 roles. Like, can we give some respect to Sinners? It was a genre-bending film, which it came out of nowhere and just was unbelievable. The music and the thematic, the religious overtones, and the themes of colonization, and Sinners.
There's definitely a lot of
I hope it gets its respect tomorrow, and then whenever this ceremony happens. But Michael B. Jordan played 2 roles. Timothée Chalamet plays. I mean, again, I won't see. I'll watch it on an airplane in May when I'm flying to Toronto or flying to somewhere to cover hockey or whatnot, or basketball, wherever the Raptors end up playing in the playoffs. But I'm not that excited to see. Have you seen it, Dan? Marty Supreme?
I have not seen it yet. My favorite ping pong movie remains Balls of Fury. So,
I will. Good news for Cab is this: I do think Coogler is going to win for original screenplay, and the movie was impactful. There's no doubt about it. To make an R-rated film, an original film that packed up box office and earned rave reviews, he's right. Sinners will definitely do well. I think I'll get nominated for Best Picture. I do think Coogler wins the Oscar, but ultimately, I don't think it's going to do as well. Listen, I don't think Michael B. Jordan's going to win. Hopefully, he'll get nominated. It's a good race for Best Actor. Leo has a good chance. He's only won one Oscar. He's one of the great actors, obviously, for our time. But I do think it's Timmy's time. 30 years of age. It's a hell of a performance. Marty Supreme, and I'm not just talking about Martin Scorsese. If I could put up a shirt of Marty Supreme, that'd be my shout for my boy Scorsese. More Italians for you, Riccio.
Yeah, no love for De Niro playing 2 roles in Alto Nights, though.
Let's talk Alto Nights. You're right. Hold on. Nick Pileggi wrote Goodfellas, and Cab's one of the few people who likes Casino more than Goodfellas, which Nick Pileggi also wrote. And so Pileggi's a great writer. So to Dan's point, when I heard the Alto Nights is coming out, they go, wait, Nick Pileggi wrote it. Great. Who directed it? Barry Levinson. I love Bugsy. I love Bugsy a lot more than most people do. I think it's a great film, 1991 gangster movie. And, of course, De Niro playing 2 roles. Dan, that was one of the worst movies of last year. Cab famously falls asleep during movies. I fell asleep during the movie, and I was thrilled to do so. It was a pleasant nap, and I woke up and I'm like, yep, De Niro's still senile, still old, fine, all good. You want a movie of De Niro playing an old man? Let's all agree on the brilliance of The Irishman, which was a great film.
Oh, hold on. Okay, I got to acknowledge the chat. While A couple of guys are saying, Little Willie Styles said, I bet Adnan puts pineapple on his pizza. Willie Styles also hit with a baseball nerd alert. Cleaton said, baseball nerds are the best kind of nerds. And then someone said, I lost count on how many words Adnan says per minute. And I think it's somewhere above 100. Or maybe it's above 200 words per minute, because you were just absolutely cooking, bro. To reference Bugsy, who was a gangster, your words per minute was like a machine gun from 1941 or whatever. It was unbelievable, the amount of gems that you were dropping in our baseball conversation, and evidently a film conversation too.
I appreciate it. I think that guy's making fun of me. You're saying it in a nice way, Cab. But we'll say this. I listen to Off the Roster at 1.5 speed. Which is not a knock. I'm just trying to get through the day quicker. So your hour and 10-minute podcast, I'm like, bam. Jack Armstrong, a lot more energy at 1.5 speed. Hey, Cabbie, I saw you last week. Hey, Spadina. This is how I run up my anxiety. I'd like to get, since Lindsay's not here, I'd like to get more feedback on Off the Roster. How about the fact, Riccio, you must have felt for her when she dropped that. So again, let's make this very specific to you. Woodbridge, Maple, etc. If I mentioned to you La Paloma, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Good gelato place. Yeah. And so when Lindsay said to Ryan Getzlaf, whatever colloquial reference she made to Saskatchewan, I mean, how uncomfortable was that for Lindsay? Ryan Getzlaf had no idea what she was talking about.
Yeah. NOD, north of Dewdney. Didn't figure it out. But, when you mention Italian stuff to people in Woodbridge, they know everything. So it's they're putting an Olive Garden at Vaughan Mills. I don't know if it's a good choice, but
listen, I'm not. I may have used Frankie Verco a time or two as an alias when walking over Woodbridge. It may have worked.
You're giving them too much. There's too much. You mentioned my middle name, which I've never said publicly. You just mentioned your alias when we used to take road trips to New York, and we'd be out, in Soho or
Meatpacking District.
Meatpacking District. We're talking to girls. Like Virk would have this whole alias, and people are like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Listen, you are
we got to cut it, but we appreciate you, man. This has been
you are
this has been so much fun.
Flamethrower today, bro. This is incredible. Man. Thank you so much for your baseball knowledge, nerding out on the Yankees, the Jays, the Orioles, you name it. You just had it covered. It was an absolute pleasure to have you on Off the Roster today.
I appreciate
Thank you so much, brother.
When you texted me, Cab, you said we need 15 minutes. I go, I'm going to blow through that. If we do 15 minutes, that's a loss on me. So my goal was 36 minutes and nothing less than that. So I look forward to making a return when I see you guys again soon. Seriously, keep up the great work. I'm loving the podcast. Cap thinks I'm just being a friend, but no, listen, I've got to cover the Leafs when I come home to Toronto. It's been very helpful to listen to. The Raptors stuff has been great. And obviously the Off the Roster beating. I don't know much about curling, but I'm learning about curling. The different guests have been fun. It's good stuff, man. Congrats to you both on the new venture. Off the Roster support right now. Get some merch going, all right? Get some merch. Yeah. Let me support. Next time I have a baseball ninja hat, I'll have an OTR hat. Keep it up, fellas.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Adnan.
We didn't even talk Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah, we
didn't even talk Hall of Fame. Oh, shout out to Carlos Beltran and Andrew Jones getting into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Yeah. Unbelievable chat there with the legend himself, Adnan Virk, and we appreciate him. We've blown through all of the time here, so let's get to our ProLine picks of the day. When watching your favorite sports, make things interesting with ProLine. Must be 18 plus to bet in store, 19 plus to bet online with ProLine Plus. Must be in the province of Ontario at the time of play. Please play responsibly. And for me tonight, Cab, I am going with the Maple Leafs. I said it. Okay. It's on the must-win-a-meter for tonight. I don't know exactly where, but they desperately need this one against the Detroit Red Wings. So we're going and riding with the blue and white against the Red Wings tonight.
Dan, for my ProLine pick of the day, producer Nick, load this up, please. I'm going to start with this clip from Dylan Larkin. Over under 15.5 goals that you've scored against the Toronto Maple Leafs in your career. What do you think? Is it over or under 15.5 goals?
It's a lot. I don't know. I'm going to say over.
The correct answer is under.
Under?
Yeah, you're at 15. You're at 15.
15? Yeah. Oh, that's a good line.
Tonight, Dylan Larkin makes it 16. Detroit has won all 3 games against Toronto this season, and he has 1 goal in those games. The team is playing with great confidence. So is he. So my play for tonight is Dylan Larkin to score an anytime goal against the Toronto Maple Leafs this evening.
There are your picks again for entertainment purposes only tonight. We're both in the same game with the Leafs and Red Wings. Will be back tomorrow to wrap that up. And Lindsay will be back tomorrow on Off the Roster as well. And we're hoping to connect with Marie-Philippe Poulin, the legend herself, joining us on Off the Roster Thursday. So we'll talk to you then, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Peace, everybody.
Hope you enjoyed this video. If you want more Off the Roster content, make sure to like and hype this video and subscribe to the Nation Network YouTube channel.